Hello and welcome to the Nexus Report. My name is Tony Ray. I'm your community manager, and I am joined by Stephen Frost, producer for WildStar, and product director Mike Donatelli.
Howdy.
Mike, Dev Unleashed Donatelli. You've got a reputation around here. I'm excited. We're gonna get to Mike in a second. We've got a ton of updates, and
it's a schlode.
It's a God.
It's a schlode of updates.
You can't say that.
Don't shoot me for that.
You
Do
can't,
not.
please.
I got away with it before.
Yeah, no,
Don't
but
you?
definitely should.
Oh! Well done.
I took it like a champ, though.
Did you get hit in the head?
Yeah.
Wow.
Notice I didn't complain.
All right, just, you're so metal.
It's metal.
So we got some updates that we're gonna get to. We've got. Are you really knocking this? Are you?
What? What?
I'm just amazed that you're skipping over banter.
Oh, all right, fine. Look, Tony has a thing on here that says banter. He's got a poem. I'm not gonna read it. Poems are definitely not metal. So
I know, that's why I wrote it.
Guess who's not reading it? There's a thing that says banter on here.
Okay, well, whoever wins the show flow notes today,
They'll know.
They'll know.
What a lyricist
says.
you are.
Anyway, we've got a lot of things to talk about today. We've got the state of the game clarification. That's why Mike is here, and he's got a spread of papers here.
Yeah.
So many papers.
Show him your patch note.
Hey, what would you call this?
Well,
How much of this is there?
How much there?
What do you call this? That's a lot.
There's a lot of papers.
Would you say it's
Nope, I would say it's a lot.
It's a lot.
All right, we'll get him to say it one more time. So a reminder: submit your questions through the chat, Twitch chat, Q : and then your question. We'll be answering as many as we can today. We're gonna have a little bit shorter Q&A because actually Mike has got a lot to talk about, which will in turn answer most of your questions anyway. I just have a couple updates for WildStar from the community. We had a server poll on the forums, and the community voted, and the results are in.
They are in.
That's right. For NA, this is for the servers.
Yep.
We're about the new servers for when we launch mega servers. For NA, the PvE server is Entity.
Yeah.
The PvP server is Warhound. That's a good one.
Pretty badass.
Yeah, it's pretty metal.
Yeah.
For the EU servers, PvE is Jabbit. It's not one I voted for. And EU PvP is Lumini. Huh?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good name. So great job, community. Thank you for voting. We also have tomorrow afternoon, I am going to take part in a WildStar Town Hall meeting. There's actually two of these that are going to be taking place. Tomorrow is the one that I'm taking part of. And on Thursday, Mark Holmes, our EU community manager, is going to be there, and he's going to be joining in the conversation. We're going to be discussing all kinds of things from game population, mega servers, classes, PvE quests, PvP, raiding, dungeons, community events, and then just kind of open chat.
And thanks to ZapRobo for getting all that stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Over there at wildstarcentral.com. So if you have any questions about this, if you want to take part in it, if you want to submit questions to it, I'll be there tomorrow. It starts at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's going to last for 3 hours. That's wildstar-central.com. Check out the website. On Thursday, it's the Thursday, October 2nd, 7 p.m. BST. So tune in for that. Both Mark and I will be in each one, and we're mainly there to take notes and gather feedback from the community, and then take that feedback and concerns and bring them to the devs here in studio. So that is all the updates I have. I'm going to turn it over to Mike because last week, Mike, you posted a state of the game address in the forums, and the feedback that we got was there was a lot of questions about, we just wanted some clarification on a few things, and I think that's mainly what the community was asking for, and so that's why you're here today.
Absolutely. We, I wanted to put that state of the game out, but we decided to deliberately make it kind of the introduction. There's just too much stuff to go over
Seriously,
in
pick up
one
that
thing.
pile and
So
just
I brought with me today the patch notes. Okay. Now, this isn't, I thought people would think I was full of shit, and this is just like 3 pages of paper and like, how they do the movies with the hundreds.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, this is not double-spaced filler stuff. This is seriously 100+ pages of patch notes. We went over, as I mentioned in the thing, we were able to eliminate in the first month 3,000 bugs that, again, players have been screaming about. we did a ton of balance issues, and we wanted it to go out earlier than what it is now, but the fact is we wanted to make sure this was the tightest patch we've ever released.
Right.
So that has unfortunately pushed the drop further and further back until we have now decided that we're looking at late October, early November to get it out. But I mean, this is a game-changing amount of stuff. So I feel like when players get back into it, and players who have stood with us all along, and new players will really see a change in the game.
Right. So I had some specific questions that we pulled because we were taking feedback from the community about the State of the Game address all week last week. We'd post about it on Twitter to submit questions and things. And so I have just a few main points that I'd like you to kind
Please.
of address and hit. First would be so gear itemization, the rune system, and the reward system. What is being done, and when can we expect it?
Again, pretty much all of those. Some of the changes to changes that we thought were safe. Obviously, changes to attunement, things of that nature that we felt we could get into a hotfix. We've done. Itemization is kind of more pervasive to the whole game, so that's going to have to go out in the what we're calling 3-4, but the drop that we are preparing for early October, late November. What you're asking, like I said, I got a million sheets of paper here. I'm trying to, I wanted to come as prepared as humanly possible. So for itemization, so one of the biggest things we're doing is the rune changes, which allows you, it's overarching changes to re-rolling rune elements, new runes, adding rune slots to max out items. We had it was pretty RNG heavy, and we've kind of backed off on that and trying to let the players play the way they want to play. Like if, you spend the time pimping out the weapons you have, you don't have to sit there and grind, caves and over and over and over again to get loot. So, we're definitely doing some rebalancing the statistics, assault power and support power. I mean, we're touching everything, and I think players will be pleased. And when I do the next state of the game, which I believe is this week, to get it out so players can see all this stuff, I'm just going to have the details all listed out. Like, again, I have tons of details, but, it would take me a month to go through every single one of these things. So I want to make sure that we can hit the questions you have to ask. But so that rune changes, statistic rebalance, assault power, support power, everything is being touched, and it's looking for the drop in early October, late November. But I'll have more for you when we get this stuff on the web.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. So another main concern was, could we get a clear date for the mega servers and when they're going to come on?
Mega server, again, to just be completely honest about this whole thing, mega server was something we wanted to do, and I think I'm talking around. I'll get to it. Mega server was something we wanted to do for the game launch, but we just didn't have enough time. Like if we had tried to do it and failed to do it, it would have not been good for launch. So mega server is something we've had work done on, but we didn't have it finished. So once we launched the game, we started to concentrate on getting that thing up and running. And now it's coming, but we're looking at within the next 2 weeks. I think that's a safe thing to say. Middle of October, but again, with the caveat that we need to make sure that it is solid, because that's, it's going to be the place where everybody plays.
Right.
So we got to make sure that it is completely solid and bug-free, and then we'll get it up there. We split it apart from 3.4 because 3.4, the drop, that became such a giant thing. I mean, there's so much content in here and so many changes to the game that having them launch together, we felt it was going to be really difficult to try to suss out problems we had, right? Because when you have as much content and as much bug fixing and tuning going into the game like that, and then all of a sudden something started happening, pulling those two apart and getting QA to test nothing but that first just really made a lot of sense. So that's what we're going to do.
Cool. So look for mega servers middle of October.
Middle of October.
Couple weeks.
And then the hope being that the big drop is going to be coming late October and within like the first week of November. Mm-hmm. But again, it's the caveat being that we got to make sure that it is, completely tested. And I feel good about it. I think we're in a really good spot, so I'm not worried about it.
Right. Okay. Now this is something that's been talked about a lot in the community, and I think it would be good to finally give an answer on. Is Shades Eve happening this year, and are any holidays happening this year?
Okay, so we have, and again, in the New World Order of honesty, complete and utter transparency, We did have Shades Eve ready to go. It was wrapped up into, it was going for October. We ended up pushing the drop into its window, and we just did not feel it was going to get the amount of testing that we, Carbine Studios, wants the content to get, right? We had a real, it's what I said in the thing last the state of the game. I said it in there is because we don't want to put out content that's buggy. Players have said stop putting out buggy content, so we're not going to, but that is also going to impact the amount of content and how fast we can get it out. So Shades Eve could have gone out, but I would have been worried about the state of quality, just the quality of it, because we're getting testing on Mega Server and this big drop, but we were not going to get the amount of testing I wanted to have on Shades Eve. Now,
and it's definitely great content, and we have other stuff where we had work on it.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just what we were concerned about is quality, and we wanted to make sure that it was in a good enough state. And holidays have a specific time in which they're relevant. If we put out Halloween at Christmas time,
we talked about let's redesign Shades Eve so it comes out late November, right? And then there was this big discussion. People were like, that doesn't even make any sense anymore,
yeah,
right? It doesn't tie into the lore anymore. And the bottom line is, it's cool. It's a lot of good content. I'm hoping we can get some screenshots and do some more, to show. I mean, the proofs, it's there.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, people have data mined a few things and probably seen some of it. And even that stuff was early. So there's some really cool stuff in there.
Yeah. And there was a crazy Christmas holiday as well, but that one, if I was afraid October wasn't going to get the proper testing, this one was definitely not going to get the amount of testing we wanted to have it. Again, in the new plan, which is, again, we're just releasing quality content, right? Quantity does not make up for a lack of quality, and we have to focus on that. And I think the team is all on board for that, even though people still want to, developers still want to develop, so you keep wanting to churn the stuff out, but we got to be let's cool it and test the stuff. So we got teams in there testing all the time. So, like I said, I feel like this next drop is going to set the tone for future drops afterwards.
So to kind of sum up, no holidays this year because we
this
really
year.
want to focus on the quality of the.
And we would definitely not have been able to get the level of quality that we want to give to the players if we had just thrown it out there with 2 weeks of testing.
Right. So a lot of the things that we're seeing, are asking. Well, if we're waiting until mid-November or late October, early November, sorry, what's coming in the future that will make players want to continue to sub to WildStar? What's going to get them coming back into the game every day?
So again, this was a tough decision, right? We always want, as I said in the state of the game, we wanted to just go, hey, look, if we keep putting out this content every month and people are like, oh man, it's great, there's all this content all the time and it provides value. But putting it out and it being buggy and then players not being happy with it is the opposite of what we were trying to shoot for. So we had to do some soul searching and make a pretty hard decision with moving these drops out to make sure we focused on quality content.
And just to be clear, in no way would we blame the players for that. That's us for
absolutely not.
Somebody had asked me that question, like, are you blaming the players? Absolutely not. We had to make a very tough decision to do that, and that's based off of what players want, but it's also based off of what we want too and what we want to put out.
Well, I mean, the fact is, we never set out to turn around and say, you're going to test our game for us while you pass.
Right.
Like, it was not the plan. We didn't, myself personally underestimated the amount of QA time that we would need to do this stuff, so I was pushing the team real hard to produce content quickly. And we have a lot of content in the wings, and I'm really looking forward to it coming out, but it's got to, we have to make sure we've done our due diligence and make sure that we're providing. Because, no player's going to sit around to sideways answer your question. No player's going to want to sit around and wait. If we could put content out every 2 weeks and it just be a shitty mess, and then people are like, I'm not paying for this game, right? So we got to focus and we got to make sure we're putting out quality content. And I'm just going to go through a bit of a thing here. The first thing we did was sit down and try to determine, just pour through the forums, look at the metrics we have, and just say where the players, try to concentrate on what was going on with the players. And I didn't talk about this in the state of the game. I will talk about it in the next one, but what we did was we went through all that feedback, collated it into about 6 pages of the things that we felt were very important to the players. Again, the weight of it, attunements creating frustration. Dungeons are harder for people to get into than we intended. Too many variables for itemization players can't influence. Personal customization needs to be more accessible. So we made these accessibility initiatives how we could get the players into the game more. So I think that this is going to be very important when players see the stuff that we are doing to make the game more accessible, and to, you know, these retention initiatives, so players can like, oh hey, they're fixing that thing that I'm pissed about. That hopefully will make them want to stay subscribed. I have again, that was just kind of our initiative setup. I have also with me, since I have a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
please take your time.
Thank you. I feel it. So again, it's so what we're looking forward to in this early October, mid-November timeframe is obviously the Defile, World Story 0 and World Story 1, which was content we wanted to put out anyway over the next 2 drops. We have the music remodel, which is another option where you can actually go and remodel all the music in your house for your housing plots. Pretty cool. Renown improvements, influence improvements. We added rental mounts throughout the low-level area. We're touching the quests. We're doing audits throughout the game to make sure that the quests can be shared.
Can you talk about rental mounts really quick?
Yeah, rental mounts was, you know, players are like, hey, we like mounts, and we wish we could have them earlier. So we had a settler station in 2 zones that players could build that would pop up these mounts, and through looking at it, people used the hell out of them. So we did this, we added rental mount guys where you can just go out the game and grab a mount at a lower level, and so you can tool around the game in a motorcycle or a cool mount, and you know, so you'll know what you're getting into, so when you turn and hit the right level range, you can just go buy a new mount. And then this also helps, it helps players get around the game faster. It also helps, we also did a lot of changes with money. Right, we made some tweaks to money so you could res here more often, so you could have enough money to just jump right into housing, so you could have money to buy a mount, so you could have money to buy all your abilities, right? Because the last thing we wanted to turn around is go, I have to make a decision whether or not I want to spend my abilities or buy a mount, right? The whole idea is, yeah, you should have all your abilities, right? Like, so we're making a lot of changes that I think players, these changes are players are gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna stick around for that. We also have, again, as I mentioned earlier, rune system lock slots, rune system reroll slots, die cost revisions, low-level currency adjustments. I mean, we've done a lot of things just for 3, and this is just the content of it, right? This is just the things that we're putting in there as content. It's nothing to do with, you know, let's just, okay, these are all, I could read all these, but it would make no sense. It's all class changes. But the dot effect for blowing up fuel tanks now show as debuff for the quest, The Big Bang. PvP, VO will now play when any point is captured in Daggerstone Pass. Fixed a bug with prevent meditate from granting an initial focus gain. Like, I mean, it is literally 100 pages of either bugs that we found or you guys found and helped us out with, or just changes to the user experience and the flow of the game.
I think also, you know, for the players that are watching right now that were in beta for our game, when we dropped fixes, we dropped a ton of them. And it was like every time we would drop those things, people were like, damn, Carbine, like this is an amazing amount of stuff that you're putting in. So if you were a part of that, it's gonna be like that, basically.
Well, so. I'm gonna, like I said, after we're done here, I'm gonna go talk to Craig Turner, you know, the head of operations, and I wanna see how difficult it would be to just put this in one giant file and attach it to my next state of the game, because yeah, read. I don't know why. It's not like I'm hoarding this knowledge, right? If you want to know why you should stay, it's in here. It's in my Bible of fixes.
I'm gonna do a live stream where I just sit here and read every line. That would be an awful idea.
The Houston 32 EXE can now run on Windows XP.
It's a great exit. Yeah.
I'm not as good as you two, because again, the battle royale you guys have done over the months.
Yeah.
But no, again, and I'm going to throw this out here as a little extra, the January update, right? Because we're trying to have space in between these updates so we have enough time to test it all, right? So we got to lock this thing down and start locking down within the next month, get it up for testing. But you know, that's dungeon dailies. We got Proto Games Academy, which is a training dungeon to help players, you know, get used to how our dungeons work. Proto Games Academy, the Ultimate Proto Games, which is a totally different dungeon. We have the second arena. There's a ton of stuff coming.
Proto Games too, I want to talk about just for a little bit.
Shoot.
Because Proto Games is it's kind of random what rooms you're gonna get. You don't always get the same room.
Well, it's kind of, there's a shtick to it about the Protostar, and it's kind of a game show.
Right.
So it's really cool and it's super funny. And the Proto Games Academy is kind of like a, it's a smaller, like we played it, and I'm not that great at rating, but it was super entertaining. Like the guy talks to you and they train you about the things that are going to happen to you in dungeons.
For reference, for people that are, again, that have followed the game for a while and watched these live streams previously, the way that we tested the Proto Games Academy, which is effectively a training dungeon on how to get you into doing these things, we tested it on Pappy. And if Pappy could do it, we knew we were in a good spot.
There was a lot of,
He's not great.
oh man, gotta get up, man.
Help me, man.
Said
Frost.
get up.
Help. I need, well, there's no battle res in this game. Oh no, man. He did okay. So we knew we were in a good spot there. But we've been testing and adding those things in for quality of life on the low level, as well as the Proto Games, which has a the usual WildStar dungeon related stuff, which is a little bit more challenging, but we have both, so it's
again,
both
the
bases.
idea being is we want to make sure, again, I want to make sure everybody knows we're not nerfing the difficulty of it. It's not, what we're trying to do is get everybody in line, like to try, because again, we kind of threw people in. What we see through our numbers is people are like, oh, a dungeon. I've done dungeons before. This will be fun. I'm level 17. And they go in and they get just crushed. And then they're like, this game is too hard. It's hardcore, quote unquote. And in the reality is, we have ship hands, which is kind of your first tiptoe into it.
Right.
Then you have adventures, which is kind of the next level of difficulty. But we assumed, like players will get that, but players didn't get that because we did a bad job in conveying that.
Right.
So getting all those things into the LF, except for Ray, it's getting all those things put into the LFG tool so that you can be like, oh, I want to go to this group experience. Now I don't have to find the ship hand entrances. I don't have to find the adventure dungeons entrances. Now I just have all this stuff at my fingertips from level 6 because we're putting the level 6 ship hand so that we can get players grouping earlier. We're putting in the training dungeon at level, I think it's 10, 12 kind of range. Then we have the first adventure, comes in like 14, 15. Then you have the dungeon at 17. So again, players will see, oh, there's this, and then veteran ship hands and then all this great content.
Right.
And that's what's coming. And that's why you should continue to subscribe to this game.
Yeah, and what's cool too about the Proto Game stuff with the Academy, it is teaching you things like interrupt armor. It's teaching you things like dodging telegraphs, and it's teaching you things that in dungeons maybe you didn't quite get yet because you're like, oh, there's a little shield on a number, but I don't know what that means.
And that allowed us to also, playing the training dungeon allowed us to go, hey, you know what, there's not enough player feedback here, right? Like this piece that is in other dungeons, we should put a little glow around it. We should, so I think it's going to help actually the future too. But that's the content we're talking about. We're mixing a couple things together. That is all stuff that is coming in the January timeframe.
Right.
That's the window we're aiming for, mid-January. So a lot of that stuff we're talking about is coming then. So again, November is going to be a lot more of, there's some content, but a ton of bug fixes and general user experience changes. And then the Protostar Academy and the big Protostar Dungeon, all that stuff is coming in January.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That's a huge,
it's a huge update.
huge update.
So, you ready to get some questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We're going to dive right into it. I just want to remind everybody, if you're just tuning in, I noticed kind of a spike in numbers on the stream. If you missed any part of the earlier part of the stream, CRB Sunshine is actually writing up a recap right now live. So as soon as we're done with this live stream, we're going to be posting that recap, within an hour or so to the forum. So look for that in the general discussion. There'll be a nice full recap of all of Mike's answers to all the questions from the live stream in case you missed it.
But you won't get to see all of my paperwork.
No, careful. You're going to hit me in the head with that and knock me out.
Dude, it's not even knock you out. Imagine the amount of paper cuts that you can
No,
get.
I sat there and I was like, I can tear this shit in half. I just can't.
You
can't do that. It's like a
Yeah,
phone
you
book.
can't tear that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do it, but I don't want. It's fine.
Let's not.
It's not the time or place.
How
It's
about
not
I
the time or
answer,
place.
or we get a question,
All
get some
right.
answers. This is from Nick FTW. I'm in the burned out pile. I rated hell, even got some of the 40-man content complete. Did everything that the game had to offer, from PvP to silly achievements. What's going to make me come back to the game? It's a very valid question.
Well, like I said, we still want to add new content, right? We still want to do, We still want to have a giant amount of content that we put out. It's not going to be monthly. Like I said, we have a lot of content we worked on, but we're going to put it into quarterlies. That way we can turn around and go, hey, this has got enough testing. When we tried to go, again, to be quite honest with you, what we tried to do is have these teams rolling, right? So we have one team working on this drop. We had teams working on drop 12, drop 13 down the road. The problem was QA couldn't, and it's not their fault, it's legitimate. They couldn't possibly, there wasn't enough QA people to turn around and go, hey, we're looking at this, but then this team just got finished with their work and they need, the 12 guys need someone to look at their stuff, and so we spread QA way too thin. This allows us to put everything together in one pile and then concentrate on that for 2 months before we actually put it out. Before, what we were getting is, QA, we handed off stuff where like, you got to have this done in a week or 8 days, 9 days before it goes out to the players, which is a terrible way to do it.
We've also, listed out a few new features that are coming in, but there's also some stuff that might be coming in January that we haven't talked about either, that once we get a little closer there.
Well, you know what? I don't really care. I'll talk about it if I can find it. If I can find it on my list.
Here we go.
New micro zone maps, new dungeon zone maps, dungeon XP adjustments.
That's going to be a big one. I think one of
the recruitment tool.
Just to go into that, what Mike means by dungeon XP stuff. One of the things that even myself as a player found frustrating was that when you were playing through a PvE zone, that was the optimal way to level through the content. That was the fast way to earn pretty much anything. And so if I had friends that are like, let's run a dungeon, and they were not good, and it took like an hour to do a dungeon, I'd be like, oh, but in that time, I could have earned a level and a half.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
And so what we're looking at on that end is how can we make that XP a bigger gain for you playing through it so that it's equivalent to running through a PvE zone in that same amount of time. So, because I love group content, I love the challenging stuff, obviously, but if I had to, go at a faster rate, I'd go on the PvE route to do it. So.
Well, I mean, PvP, again, there's enough adjustments in here that I think you're going to see a good deal of difference in the way it felt before the way the game feels now. We are putting out new content again. We have that zone and those 2 world stories. We have January, we have more content. Like, we have content coming. Again, it's just going to be in those every couple months. That way we don't end up screwing the pooch and putting out tons of stuff that's broken.
Well, this next question actually kind of ties into that. This is from Kanta Julie. Will the quarterly drops potentially have as much content as 3 of the originally planned monthly drops? And as a side part of this question, since we're doing the drops quarterly, are we still having, like our weekly patches or anything like that?
Yeah, well, the weekly patches, I would defer to Craig Turner on that. Some of the stuff we talked about is the weekly drops, because again, had we given the team enough time to just totally shake it out, there wouldn't have been as much bugs, which would require as many hot fixes. So we're hoping that this new system will reduce the amount of hot fixes you're going to have. But no, hot fixes are always going to be a thing. Whether it's a week, whether there's one a week or one every 2 weeks, it's going to be dependent upon the amount of bugs in the game, which I'm hoping will be practically nil, so we won't have these issues anymore. As far as the content per drop, yes, we have that content. Yes, we want to package it and put it out in the quarterlies, and it's going to go down to bugs, right? Yeah. We're not going to end up doing the Christmas holiday because that just didn't get enough testing. October was a shame. I'm pissed about that, but there's not much we can do about that. The Christmas one, it was just not going to get enough testing. So yes, there will be content in every one of those quarterly patches that would have been the amalgamation of all those other things, but it's going to be based on the quality of it, right? Again, it's got to be about quality, because we could put out a bunch of crap and then, that you realize that right away, and then it's just crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, most certainly. So this next question is a long one, so
can't actually read the whole thing on the screen.
Bear with me here. This is from Malzek. That other MMORPG abandoned the 40-man model 9 years ago due to logistical issues. WildStar's raids are much more unforgiving, leaving many scratching their head. Hold on just a second. Scratching their head at the design decision. Has any consideration gone into bringing raid content to a more realistic level for the player-based size?
All I'm willing to say right now is yes.
So that's not really like a hint, by the way.
Well, yes, there has been a discussion. I'm not going to go into any gross details. I refuse to answer that question at this time.
Okay.
How about non-gross details? Okay.
No.
Okay.
That's not.
How about this? How about this? The devs are listening.
Oh, that works. That works. PV Dame. Will there be free trials when the mega servers and/or drop 3 hit live?
It's kind of outside my realm of, it's a kind of a publishing marketing thing, but we definitely.
I mean, usually they come with a game, so if you've given
Well,
those,
I mean,
we have those.
How about
but-
this? I'd like to say yes, but I don't want to. Again, I don't want to step on anybody's toes if this is.
I
a
mean,
marketing thing.
I am in publishing.
There you go.
The publishing.
Well, why don't you answer
I
the
will
question?
try and answer this. I'm also not going to say yes for a fact, but I mean, you have to think about it like this. We wouldn't want to hand out free trials if we weren't secure in bugs and things like that. So if once this drop hits with obviously a shit ton of bug fixes, I feel like we would be much more inclined to have a bunch of people come in and test the game for free, because now it's like, hey, the game isn't buggy. We are very comfortable with where we're at. We're secure with how the game performs, and now we can bring in those people and have them test the game. Because the worst thing would be to invite people into a buggy game.
Again, absolutely. I think that it's a fair assessment to say yes, that we will be putting out the free trials.
It would
so
make
you can get
sense.
your friends to play.
It would make sense.
So this one is from Baslin. I think it's Baslin. What is the plan to increase the game's population, find new players, and bring players back that already quit?
Well, definitely the first step, I mean, Tony already said it, the first step is to fix these bugs, right? Because there's no point, I mean, you might have seen, we have plans on of advertising more, we have the free trial plans, we have a lot of marketing and publishing plans to get people back into the funnel. We in the dev side have to make sure that this part is done, so that if this is solid, then players coming in, new players, old players that might have drummed out between the first 15 levels go, oh hey, this game's way more streamlined now, I'm having a really good time right off the bat. We're putting it, in this next one you can skip the tutorial, so if you want to redo, if you played a character and you're like, oh, I can't go through that tutorial again, we put an ability for you to skip, so you can just create some alt, so that might be a good reason to come back and try out a different class that we've spent. I mean, see, the problem is, like, the thing is, it's like, amp changes, engineer ability changes. I mean, these are all changes to abilities, okay? There's a ton of crap in here. So I think that players are gonna be like, wow, this game is really, they've done a lot of work. And, and I apologize from the bottom of my heart that it took us this long to fix all this stuff in the first place.
I think, and not to make excuses or anything, but I think that one of the hardest things for an MMO studio to do is go from a development studio to a live studio and still maintain both of those worlds. So I think it can take time for those things to happen. I mean, if you look at the history of MMOs, if you are a fan of the genre, and I'm assuming you are, considering you're watching this right now, you probably have seen very similar things happen to other MMOs. This is a usual thing where you come out and it's like, holy crap, this is a new experience for us development people. We've got to do this thing where we have to adapt to live stuff, the crazy stuff that players will do to content that we never even thought of, that we have to address. So this is part of an MMO. You have to go through this stage, and I think it's something that we're taking a pretty good stance on presently.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Holmes. You're the next one.
Holmes, huh? Wow, that's a new one that should never happen again.
Oh man.
Quipid WildStar, Quipid WS. How can current players help bring in new players to WildStar? Word of mouth. I mean, that's the best way. You have your friends, your family that you play with. Let them know the changes that we're making, the changes that are coming. Have them watch a live stream. Send them to some of our videos. Send them some of the
Talk
the
about
dev
this.
speaks.
Talk about this, right? Because again, I can't stress enough. And I killed a lot of trees to make this for you folks, so I'm just telling
Literally, you killed them?
you.
Come here!
Is that not metal?
I'm gonna go.
It would be metal if you cut them down, shaved them down to paper, and then printed it.
I made this paper myself.
I did. I pounded this
Donatelli
paper.
Colombo made this.
Donatelli Colombo.
That's my.
Tell your friends. There's a lot of good things on its way that we are working on that are really gonna, just help with the overall experience of the game.
And we took the hit, right? Like, that's the whole thing, right? We took the hit for it. It's definitely, we definitely, I wish I had a time machine, go back in time, but the fact here is we saw there was problems. You folks were talking about it. We said, okay, we have to stop. We just have to stop. Even though people are going to lose their shit when we turn around and go, we're not going to do this thing anymore, this is more important right now. And once this is done, I think it's going to set the tone. You're going to see this and you're going to go, wow, these guys are really serious.
I'd also like to point out that both Tony and Mike have cussed frequently and not been shot.
What, we have?
I said
Have
a
What did we
non-curse
say?
word.
Yeah, but
said-
yours sounded filthy.
Look, next time, here's what I'm gonna do.
Have I?
I'm gonna go, ooh, you said the SH
You guys
word?
got to flash something on the
Oh, we
screen or
said
something.
shit.
Like,
Oh, we said shit.
yeah, but you got to flash.
There is.
Nice. Your aim is magnificent.
If he
today.
hits me in the throat one more time, I'm gonna
Hey,
throw knuckles.
Look,
all right.
all I'm saying
Where are you
is,
throwing them? The knuckles.
all over.
look,
Okay,
all
sorry.
I'm saying is that that's how excited I got. I got so excited that I said a lot of words, but your word just sounded filthy.
It's gross.
All right, so let's get on to
Next
the next
question.
question. So this is from Kips162. With the announcement that drops are now further away, the perceived value of a monthly sub has now fallen. What plans do you have in place to rectify the gaps in content? We kind of talked about this. I mean, with the amount of stuff that you're getting with those quarterlies, I think is still pretty big. It's not like
It's still a lot, but we have discussed. I loathe to go into the details because it's not going to happen in this next drop. So I feel like if I'm saying this, it's kind of just lip service. But the fact is, we did talk about a kind of a new retention initiative to get players who stay subscribed cool things, right? Like you saw that we were doing hats for a while, right? And everybody was getting a hat. Well, there's a bigger system being designed as we speak so that we can, and I want to say January, but, as soon as possible, it's something we want to do. It's something that we have on our plate and we want to do it, but it's something to reward players for just what you're saying, just to give you some more value to paying that subscription.
Those talks are heavily being.
Or using credit. I want to make sure there's no confusion there. It's all, as far as we're concerned, it's all subscription.
Yeah.
This question is from Sunset Blade. You mentioned releasing some of the safer changes in advance of the drop. Surely there are at least a few hundred more safe bug fixes that you could release in the weeks before the patch.
It goes. You're not wrong. We've had a lot of discussion on that. Let's say there's a nice size part of the team that wants their changes, like some of the class changes, some of those changes to come out sooner than later. But it goes back to the same thing. If we break them out and it goes into a hot fix, and let's say there's 100 or 200 items, then QA has to stop focusing on Mega Server to look at those bugs, and then Mega Server gets pushed back. And then once that gets pushed back, because what we're not going to do is jeopardize the drop based on getting that stuff out. I'm hoping that, again, as long as nobody tells me I can't, if I can share all this info, you can see the changes. And hopefully, I think that in here, there's going to be enough changes that players be like, oh, hey, that's that thing that I want to talk about, right? Because a lot of players be like, what about my issues? Well, I think everybody's issues is in here, to be honest with you. So you're not wrong, and we will continue to, and it sounds like BS, but you're not wrong, and we will continue to reevaluate issues as they come up of what can make it into a hot fix. But right now, I'm playing it safe, and I want to make sure that the drop is perfect. So let's just say it's possible, but it's not likely.
Fair enough. You okay?
I'm good,
You
dude. I'm getting
bored?
warmed
You
up.
stretching out?
No, just
you-
getting.
Okay, you stay in
Limber.
limber. Oh God, this is from Voldrot. Client optimization is still being discussed.
I got something for that.
Any feedback on client optimization? Here we go.
Is there? There's a lot of feedback about client optimization, and I have a bullet point for that, and I highlighted it in yellow so I didn't forget. Overarching performance improvements will include reduced size of vertex and index buffers, adjusted, I don't know what any of this means, I'm speaking in tongues now, adjusted processor affinity to improve performance on some systems, optimized reuse of rendered target textures for costumes. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff. I just don't know what any of it means. I'm not a coder, but I get an idea. We're fixing it. We're making it better. As a matter of fact, I just talked to our lead programmer, and he was telling me that we're looking at a good 10 to 20% performance improvement on the changes that we have in 3.4 that's going into the build. So, that's a fact.
There you go.
Awesome.
So this one is another long question.
And I hope I have something highlighted in yellow, because that was like, boom, I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Well, except not knowing what it means, but regardless.
You did good.
Thank you.
This is from Malzek. Historically, MMORPGs have been in constant beta state. There have always been bugs and always will be, no matter how long you delay or how much iteration you go through. Where do you draw the line between keeping players from being bored and hot fixing?
and withholding content and players becoming just as frustrated.
Well-
Can you go too far with once bitten, twice shy?
Yes, thank you. That was very well written. I think yes. I think you gotta tread a fine line, and I think we have. This first one is going to be the worst one. I think that's a fact of life, right? There were so many bugs that the players found. There was so much stuff. Again, I said something had like 4,000 bugs that we couldn't fix in time for the drop. So we're going to take a whole milestone and do nothing but fix these issues. It took the whole team, pulling the whole team down to focus on that. And we fixed at least 3,000 in the first month, and we've probably done another 1,000 to 1,800 in the last month. So there's only, there are still issues left. And like you said, there's going to be bugs, but it's like a tenth of the amount of bugs that we actually fix. Now, once that's done, the idea being that this process should improve quickly, and we can turn around and go, okay, hey, look, there's 350 bugs in this next drop. Let's hammer through these, right? We don't have 3,500. We don't have 8,000 bugs, right? We have something that's a manageable amount of work. So this is going to be the big hit first, and I think that you're right. If we were going to do this every single time and keep pushing drops 6 months, then yeah, that's a failure. I think we have to do this. We got to take the bullet on this part, but then the idea being that once we move forward, we can actually concentrate on faster turnaround times. Hence why I said middle November, or early October to or mid. What did I say? Late October to
early November.
The idea being is we can pull it as early as the 21st of October if we feel that it's gotten the appropriate amount of testing. If it hasn't, and there are still bugs that we think, and again, the line we draw is how much do they affect the player, right? If there's something like my class doesn't work because these 3 abilities don't work, that stuff we're going to hotfix in right away. If it turns around and is like, hey, this quest is broken, but the quest isn't part of a main chain that pushes you through a zone, we'll fix it. But there's a content that has to be changed. Sometimes art, sometimes even code systems have to change. So we don't want to actually jump too deep into that well. But so you're right, there is a fine line to tread, and I hope that this is going to be the most painful one out of the bunch, and then after that we'll have a much quicker and smoother cadence of drops.
Yeah.
Perfect. This is from Professor Scaro. I appreciate all the work and transparency y'all have had. You mentioned changes in money. Will this level out the relatively high number of gold sinks and make it less of a time sink to do basic things like amp build testing?
Yes, that's absolutely coming.
Boom.
Knocking them out.
Well, I mean, that one was easy, right? I got like, anything that I got in yellow is good. We have changes for, something I wanted to add that I didn't talk about, and it's not, I don't know if it's going to come up. General player reporting, because it's not necessarily a dev thing, it's more of a customer service thing.
Yeah.
We had some issues, we wanted to have faster turnaround times for customer service, especially for people that are hacking and botting and whatnot, so we have this general reporting stuff that went in.
Yeah.
So now you can, the functionality greatly increases the impact the players can have on, kind of policing that space. Right-click reporting, hey, look, boom, that guy's cheating, and then it gets fired off, and then there's an accumulation, and then people get booted. So I think that I think that that's something that you should just be called out, because I have it on my list.
Cool.
And no one's going to ask that question.
So this is from Dark Angels Wraith. Rad name. After a week, things in game like NPCs stutter. Once a server restart happens, it gets fixed. Only thing is, sometimes there's no restart for more than a week. Is there going to be a more long-term fix for this?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way to. I will talk to someone about that, but that's not something I've seen come
Are you
up.
writing in a highlighter?
It's the only thing I have available.
pen.
Oh, you put that thing in your mouth. I'm not going near that. I can
true.
read it. It's fine.
Okay.
Don't.
No,
Don't.
I almost did the joke.
Don't.
But I held it back. I put.
Nuh-nuh.
What is that noise you're doing?
I'm going to
What?
talk to somebody the second we walked out of here.
All right, cool. So he's gonna get that answer. We'll figure it out. Dark Angel's Wrath. You don't want to
Wraith.
piss off Dark Angel's Wraith.
Come on, it's even cooler.
That's true. All right, I think this is about time for our last question. This is from Das Moose Gamer, frequent watcher.
Yes.
Das Moose Gamer. How would you feel about monthly rewards for players? Small things just to say thanks for playing. 5 boomboxes a month, maybe a costume piece. Still want a cowboy hat, hint, hint.
Man,
Small
cowboy hat
incentives.
pisses me off.
Small incentives for downtime between drops.
Yes to all of that. Absolutely. It's actually part of that whole system I was talking
We
about.
talked about it earlier. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's only part of it, right?
Yeah.
Boom boxes, absolutely. I think that that's a great idea. We've discussed that. And kind of actually adding new boom boxes to the mix, so those old ones actually have a little more importance. We have a new set. The cowboy hat, which I'm pretty pissed about myself because I had plans for that. But yeah, that's definitely something in the works. And again, I'm going to walk out of here and just go, he asked for it, so let's get it in there.
There you go, Das Moves Gamer making it happen. So listen, if you missed any part of this stream, like I said, Sarah B. Sunshine is in the room. She is typing ferociously to give a live, basically recap that we will be posting shortly after the stream airs on the forums in general discussion. So if you missed any of that, all the questions that Mike has answered today, all the topics that we discussed, there were some big ones. And you definitely will want to read that recap if you've missed any of it. If you haven't gotten your question answered, go to that post and post your questions in there, and I'll try and get as many answers from devs that I can throughout the week to try and answer as many questions as we can for you guys. We understand that the state of the game is isn't where we want it to be, but we're making a lot of changes that are going to really make this game incredible.
You're going to see a great difference between the state of the game as you're playing it right now and then the state of the game when we get this drop out. It's going to be a great difference.
Right. Mike, thank you so much for coming out, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for answering, I would say, the tough questions. You answered a lot of tough questions. I don't think there was any like fluff or like softballs or anything. We're coming at you hard.
Yeah. Good job,
And
Mike.
this doesn't happen a lot, so I really appreciate that. Please feel free to stay. We're gonna do some fan art.
Oh, I would love to see it.
Yeah, right? Talk about some fan art. So the fan art, go ahead and roll that fan art.
That's where you switch to the art.
The art.
And make me
do that.
not look like a jackass. with
See
my
the
finger.
art.
There we
go.
go. All right.
There it is.
Who's that guy?
No,
That's Tony Ray, and that's
that
me
is
in the background.
and that's him
Oh my
sulking.
God, it looks nothing like you.
I was not sulking in that.
No, you were sulking.
Here's my face.
Yeah, see, that's
Sulking is like-
So our first piece of art comes from Renate Meyer. There we go. Super cool.
Renat, maybe.
Renat?
Yeah.
Renate?
All right, whatever. Eric Burns is our next piece. Sorry, Renate or Renat.
That
I tried to pronounce it.
Badass.
Dude, you got to see the detail in this. You can't even see it because we're sitting
you
so
really
far
can't.
away from the screen. But the detail in this art piece is so well done. Shading,
Strange
highlighting, great job.
Yeah.
Eric Burns actually submitted a few pieces of art. This is, I think, his second time on the stream. Very talented artist. Third piece is from Tara. Yeah.
It's got some Yeti cave going on up in Alder Rock, probably. If I had to estimate where that was going on.
Yeah.
By the Protostar.
Oh, the Exiles.
Yeah, looking cool.
Yeah, looking super cool. Our last piece of art is from Arthur Muzzin. Yeah, I love this art style.
Dude, that orange.
Super cool.
What's going on with that gun?
It's like he's like flipping them around. I think he's like, yeah,
Oh,
he spun
I
it so
see.
quickly. that there's
Okay,
still
it's
some-
Spellslinger. It's got
Yeah,
that. Okay.
it's like
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's ready to kick some ass.
Uh,
Thank you, Arthur.
Yeah, great job on the fan art, everybody. If you have fan art, please submit it to fanart at. We talked about this.
I like it.
Yeah,
no,
see what I do.
No, you don't like it, Mike.
What
No,
I do
I
is
do. It's kinda
interrupt
zippy.
him.
No, I know
And
it's
then play
the.
the
No,
music.
I like the song. I don't like when he plays it 1,000
Hey,
times.
hit me
and-
again.
No, don't
You
hit
want
him
another
again.
one?
hit me
No,
again.
please
Yeah,
don't
because
hit him
Mike
again.
asked for it. There we go. There we go.
You're missing
it.
Mike dancing. You're missing Mike
That's
dancing.
too bad. That's unfortunate.
No.
The kids love it too. In the stream.
You know, well, sometimes the kids don't get what they want all the time. Okay.
You'd be a terrible parent.
So if we could please focus for 1 second. Fan art at wildstar-online.com. Please submit your fan art. Don't you dare. I'm accepting your fan art all the time. So please send it, and you'll end up on the show.
Fan
Super
art,
cool.
is that like a piece you do every week?
Yeah, fan art.
Does it have any kind of lead-in stuff? You do any kind of lead-in music?
Like that?
Hey,
You're the worst. You're both the worst combined.
All right. I'm sorry.
Evil.
All
Are
right,
you
I'm
done
sorry.
now?
I'm sorry.
Are you done now?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
All right, now, really, what we usually do here is we have our epic moment of the week. It's my favorite part of the show, and this one is a bittersweet epic moment. It's not epic. It is epic. It's just it's a little bit of a sad story. Sylvan, who he's the creator and runner of WildStar Core. His dog Mischief unfortunately passed away 4 years old from cancer. He posted it on Twitter, and we have such an awesome community, and our devs really become family with the community. And story designer Gary Asselford actually saw this on Twitter and saw the post and wanted to see if there was anything he could do to kind of help out, especially because this is someone who's put a lot of time into the game and created a fan site, one of our biggest fan sites, WildStar Core. And we wanted to see if is there any way we can help him out. And actually, very happy to say that Mischief is now, it was going to be in WildStar. There he is, taking a little snooze. Nice little way to commemorate his life in game forever. He's going to be, it's super cool.
Yeah, it was really cool, Gary, to kind of throw that in. Nobody asked him to do that. It was just kind of he saw that post and put it in. It's pretty cool, Gary.
Yeah. So our very sincere condolences to Simply Sylvan, and rest in peace, you furry friend.
There it is.
Oh, I love dogs, man.
Yeah.
I'm a big dog guy. Now this is typically time for when we end the show. We give our closing goodbyes. But Frost, you have a little announcement.
I have a little announcement, and this it really pains me to say this. This is going to be my last show, and it's also going to be my last week at Carbine. I am off to a new adventure. I got an offer that I just couldn't turn down, and so I'm going to take it. This is super hard for me. This is one of the games that I've worked on. This is the longest game I've ever worked on. It's one of my proudest achievements. I worked with the community quite a bit. I did dev speaks. I've done voices for the game. A lot of my heart and soul is in this game, and yeah. So I'm leaving. This is my last week, and I wanted to tell you guys via live stream. Didn't want to put it out in like a tweet and have it, just kind of be this short-term thing. So I guess chat's blowing up. So I just wanted to tell you guys that, and it has nothing to do with the game, the people, any of. There's no problems here. I mean, obviously, what we're talking about today. There's a lot of really awesome improvements that are on the horizon. So my leaving has nothing to do with Carbine saying you need to go, or there's no ill will either way. I love this game. I continue to wish for the success of this product, and I love the people here. Both these guys are great, and we've been friends for years, Mike.
Yep. He helped me move a couch.
Couches,
Several.
refrigerators.
The refrigerator sucked.
Lots of things.
Dude left all the food in it. It was gross.
It was.
We had to drive around for like half an hour trying to figure out where to dump the food.
Why don't you clean it out before? Never mind.
We were also worried about it falling out of my truck, but look,
Yeah.
it was
And we
dangerous.
might not have supposed to been there at the time to take it, but hey, look, whatever.
So you stole a fridge. That's
legal
fine.
or illegal,
But
whatever.
we did it together.
did it.
That was the point.
That was the point. And I have a lot of friends here, and I don't say that as in like in a light term. I mean, I've spent a lot of time with these people, and I'm also going to miss the community greatly. I've been all over the world, quite literally, and all over the country. I've talked to a lot of press, a lot of fans. Some of the best times of my life were hanging out at PAX with a lot of the fans at PAX East and PAX Prime and E3 and all over the place. So yeah, this is very difficult for me, but I'm moving on to my next thing, and I wish the guys continued success because I again love this game. I'll continue to play it, and yeah, the stuff that they have planned is super awesome. So I'm bummed for a lot of reasons, but a big reason of that is the stuff that we have coming up is really good. So I'm sad that I won't be a part of that anymore. But yeah, moving on to something new. I'll talk about that at a later point in time on my Twitter. But yeah, so there's the news. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm out. This will be my last show. So
Well, of course, I appreciate everything you've done, and you've been a great co-host for the show. And I mean, you've been a real pain in the ass to sit next to. But you know what? I love you, man.
Yeah.
I love you. You know I love you.
Yeah, dude, I know. And one last thing, if I could just.
No, dog. Gee. Oh, good riddance. Good riddance. All right.
Yeah, I did it. I did it.
You're the worst. You are the worst.
Look, hey,
Hey, it's not like the guy's moving out of state. He'll still be around.
No, I'll still be local area.
Great,
So,
great,
it'll be
good.
great.
I get to see you again.
Maybe
Dill,
you could come in.
I want to address this real quick. What does this mean for the future of live streaming? We are still going to have a live stream. I will still be here. You have to deal with me, and I apologize. We will still be doing a lot more gameplay-driven streams. So we'll be seeing a lot more gameplay. I'll be sitting down with devs, playing through areas, and still giving you updates every single week. So that is still going to happen. Have no fear. We will still have our Twitch streams, Nexus Report, every Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. So sad to see you go, man, but I wish you nothing but the best.
Thanks, and samesies for you guys. It's always a pleasure, and yeah, it's not like I'll never see you again. We'll talk to these guys on the regular, and I'll probably still be retweeting a lot of the WildStar stuff that comes out anyway, because that's how I do.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, we're going to be posting that an entire live stream recap on the forums in general discussion. We'll be sharing it on social media as well. So if you missed any portion of this stream, we will be posting that recap. Real quick reminder, tomorrow.
It's a new record. It's a new record.
This is just ridiculous, bro. This is just ridiculous. I'm gonna choke you.
No, you will
I
not
might
choke.
just choke
Don't.
you. You know what? Because I'm gonna choke you.
You can in 3 days.
I'm gonna choke in 3 days.
Oh, man.
Okay. We'll see you guys next time. Tune in tomorrow for the WildStar-Central.com, the town hall meeting. It's going to be very cool tomorrow, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Mikey, thank you again for coming out, man.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Frost.
Yes, of course.
Let's have well, I was about to say something real bad.
Don't do it.
No, I was going to say something real bad. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for
guys.
watching. You're the
I don't believe it. Planet Nexus now lies before us.
We're approaching the Elven facility. Cambot 1, Cambot 2. You getting this?
Our work on this planet is something greater. It is something truly divine.
We shall reveal the ancient secrets of Nexus.
Ever get a feeling something's seriously wrong?
This is not good. Not good at all. By the gods.